SeaWorld has been a popular destination for families and tourists, offering a unique blend of entertainment and education through its marine life exhibits and live animal shows. As the park has gained notoriety for its captivating performances, featuring dolphins, sea lions, and most notably, killer whales. However, beneath the surface of these spectacular shows lies a history of controversy and criticism. Concerns about the treatment of orcas in captivity, rigorous training regimens, and the notorious incidents involving trainer injuries due to orca aggression have fueled the debate over the ethics of keeping such large marine mammals in captivity. This is the story of SeaWorld and why these trainers are no longer swimming with killer whales. SeaWorld is a popular marine theme park known for its animal shows and exhibits. It all started back in the 1950s when four UCLA graduates, Ken Norris, David DeMont, George Millay, and Milt Shedd, had an idea. They wanted to create an underwater restaurant. This idea soon changed, and instead of a restaurant, they decided to build a marine park. They called it SeaWorld. SeaWorld opened its doors for the first time on March 21, 1964 in San Diego, California. The park was not as big as it is today. It covered only 22 acres. They had a few dolphins, sea lions, and 2 saltwater aquariums. Despite its small size, the park was a hit. More than 400,000 people visited SeaWorld in its first year. Initially, SeaWorld was different from other theme parks. It focused on marine life and conservation, and the park offered educational programs. Visitors could learn about the animals and their habitats. SeaWorld's founders believed in the importance of education and conservation. They wanted to inspire people to care about marine life. At least that's what they presented to the public, but everything started changing in the following decades. One of the reasons for SeaWorld's success is its animal shows. The park's most famous shows features killer whales, also known as orcas. The first orca, Shamu, was brought to SeaWorld San Diego in 1965. Shamu immediately became a star, and the Shamu show drew large crowds. SeaWorld's rise to fame can be attributed to several factors. The park's unique focus on marine life sets it apart from other theme parks. Its animal shows, especially the orca shows, draw in large crowds. SeaWorld also benefited from its location in popular tourist destinations like San Diego and Orlando. The park's commitment to education and conservation has played a vital role in attracting visitors. SeaWorld offers educational programs for schools and community groups. Their exhibits and shows teach visitors about marine life and the importance of conservation. This educational focus has helped SeaWorld build a positive reputation. The park started as a small idea and grew into a major tourist attraction. SeaWorld was known around the world for its killer whale shows, which were a major attraction at their parks. The story of them working with killer whales begins in the 1960s. Shamu's introduction marked the beginning of SeaWorld's journey with killer whales. Over the years, many orcas have lived and performed at SeaWorld parks. Currently, they have 18 killer whales across 3 parks in San Diego, Orlando, and San Antonio. SeaWorld San Diego is home to 8 killer whales: Corky, Ulysses, Orchid, Akiaka, Kaylee, Keat, Shuka, and Makina. Each of these whales has a unique story. Corky, for example, is one of the oldest killer whales at SeaWorld. She was captured in the wild and brought to SeaWorld in 1987. She has been part of many shows and has become a beloved whale at the park. In Orlando, there are 5 killer whales: Makio, Malia, Chua, Katina, and Nalina. Katina is another significant whale. She was captured in Iceland and brought to SeaWorld Orlando in 1978. She has had several calves over the years, contributing to the population of killer whales at SeaWorld. SeaWorld San Antonio also has 5 killer whales: Cucot, Takara, Sakari, Tua, and Kamiya. Takara is notable because she was born at SeaWorld. She is the daughter of Kasaka, a famous killer whale who lived in SeaWorld San Diego. Takara has also given birth to several calves at SeaWorld. The lives of these killer whales at SeaWorld has been both fascinating and controversial. On one hand, SeaWorld has provided opportunities for millions of people to learn about and see these incredible animals up close. However, SeaWorld has faced significant criticism regarding the captivity of killer whales. Organizations like World Animal Protection and the Whale and Dolphin Conservation Society argue against keeping these large, intelligent animals in tanks, as captivity can lead to physical and mental health problems for the whales. One common issue is the collapse of the dorsal fin, which is often seen in captive orcas. This condition can happen in the wild, but it is most prevalent in captivity. There have also been incidents of aggressions among the whales. For instance, in August of 1989, a female killer whale named Can-Do 5 tried to assert dominance over a new whale, Corky 2, during a live show. Can-Do 5's aggressive behavior led to her breaking her jaw, which caused a severe artery to rupture, and she died from the injury. Sadly, this wasn't even close to the worst incident involving killer whales at SeaWorld that have continued for decades. These incidents have raised many questions about the safety and ethics of keeping orcas in captivity. One of the earliest incidents happened in the 1970s during a publicity stunt. Annette Eckes, a PR secretary, was asked to ride a 5-year-old female orca named Shamu. Eckes wore a bikini and slid off the back of Shamu, who then grabbed her leg and swam around the tank, refusing to release her. Eckes screamed for help as Shamu dragged her through the water. It wasn't until divers entered the pool that Shamu let go. Eckes suffered lacerations and puncture wounds from the incident. In another incident, a 7-year-old female orca named Can-Do 5 took trainer Joni Hay in her mouth during a performance and pinned her against a wall. Hay was injured but did survive. Another dramatic incident occurred when a 6-ton orca grabbed trainer Jonathan Smith during a performance. The orca bit Smith and dragged him to the bottom of the tank, and then carried him bleeding to the surface before releasing him. As Smith tried to wave to the crowd to signal that he was okay, another orca slammed into him. The orca repeatedly dragged Smith 32 feet to the bottom of the pool. Despite severe injuries, including a ruptured kidney and a 6-inch laceration on his liver, Smith managed to escape and get out of the pool. The orcas involved were identified as 10-year-old Keanu and 9-year-old Can-Do 5. Orca attacks on humans in the wild are rare. On the contrary, these giant mammals are amused by people in the open waters and often approach them for interaction. But on the other side of the spectrum, captive orcas have been involved in several deadly incidents. As of 2024, 4 humans have died due to interactions with captive orcas, with Tilikum involved in 3 of these deaths. The first fatal incident occurred on February 20th, 1991. Kelty Lee Byrne, a 20-year-old Canadian student and animal trainer, was working with orcas Tilikum, Nuka 4, and Haiti 2 at Sealand of the Pacific. Byrne slipped and fell into the whale pool. One of the orcas grabbed her foot and dragged her underwater. Despite rescue attempts, the whales prevented Byrne from surfacing. After her death, Sealand decided to sell its orcas to SeaWorld and eventually closed down its park. The second fatality occurred on July 6, 1999, when 27-year-old Daniel P. Dukes was found dead in Tilikum's pool at SeaWorld Orlando. Dukes had hidden in the park after closing and entered the pool area. The next morning, his body was discovered draped over Tilikum. SeaWorld claimed Dukes was a trespasser, but this incident was further scrutinized in the documentary Blackfish. The most well-known incident occurred on February 24, 2010, when Tilikum killed Dawn Perchot, a 40-year-old SeaWorld trainer. During a post-show routine, Tilikum grabbed Brancho and pulled her into the water. Brancho's death led to a legal battle over the safety of working with orcas and sparked widespread debates about the ethics of keeping them in captivity. After each incident, Tilikum kept being included in the shows, and SeaWorld kept disregarding the safety of both Tilikum and the trainers around him. Many other incidents involving orcas at SeaWorld have occurred over the years. Trainers have been injured during performances, and orcas have displayed aggressive behavior. These incidents led to increased scrutiny and changes in how SeaWorld manages its orca program, especially after the release of Blackfish in 2013. In 2013, SeaWorld faced intense scrutiny after the release of the documentary Blackfish. The film focused on the treatment of killer whales in captivity and highlighted the story of Tilikum. This film had a profound impact on public perception of SeaWorld and its practices. Blackfish brought these events to light, painting a picture of the conditions in which the whales were kept and the potential dangers they posed. The documentary argued that the stress of captivity led to Tilikum's aggressive behavior. The film also criticized SeaWorld's practices, suggesting that keeping such large and intelligent animals in confined spaces was unethical and dangerous. After the release of the film, SeaWorld faced a significant backlash. Several musicians, including Martina McBride, REO Speedwagon, and Willie Nelson, canceled their scheduled performances at SeaWorld parks. Public sentiment turned sharply against the park, with many calling for an end to the captivity of killer whales. In the beginning, SeaWorld disputed the accuracy of Blackfish, calling it propaganda and emotionally manipulative. This launched a $15 million advertising campaign to counter the documentary's claims and highlight their contributions to marine conservation and research. Despite all this, the negative publicity had already taken its toll, and they had to look back on their practices. In response to the growing criticism, SeaWorld announced several changes. In August of 2014, they revealed plans to build larger tanks for their killer whales, nearly doubling the size of the existing ones. This was aimed at providing more space for the whales and improving their quality of life. In 2016, SeaWorld announced that they would end their orca breeding program, meaning the current generation of orcas would be the last in their care. They also pledged $10 million towards killer whale research. The theatrical orca shows, a staple of SeaWorld attractions, were phased out, ending in San Diego in 2017 and in Orlando and San Antonio in 2019. One of the most significant changes resulting from the backlash was the decision to end in-water interactions between trainers and orcas. This move was aimed at improving safety for both the trainers and the whales. The Occupational Safety and Health Administration, OSHA, had previously cited SeaWorld for safety violations following the death of Don Pancho, and the decision to stop in-water interactions was part of a broader effort to address these concerns. Are the changes SeaWorld made enough? Will orcas continue to suffer in larger tanks because they are far from the open oceans? How can this practice end once and for all? If you enjoyed this video, then make sure to check out the next one shown on screen.